conversations that you have in press box.
This ain't your normal show, cut.
No, it's not. It is not.
I'm hearing rave reviews.
That's hard to stomach.
We're all here inside the press box.
Ah, yes, but the day would not be complete without you inside the press box. So thanks for joining us on great radio stations around the Southeast or online, pressboxradio.com, or via the brand new Pressbox video stream. That's right. You can find it on youtube.com/pressboxradio. Mike Grace hosting the show from the MGL production studios just outside of Atlanta, Georgia. Old play-by-play guy, blessed to have spent a career bouncing around press boxes all across the country, making great friends, and now those friends meet me here. We catch up, we share some of their expertise and opinions, and I got guys to help me do that. One of our regulars on Thursday is Jason Powers. He is out today, getting ready to start the championships today. It runs today through Sunday for the NFL flag leagues all across the country, having their championships at the Hall of Fame Village in Canton, Ohio. And so Jason Powers all tied up with that. But meanwhile, putting in my friend on the other side of the Atlanta Metro, part of the regular Tuesday, Thursday crew, a couple of decades serving Learfield as studio host, where he's worked for Troy, UAB, Southern Miss, Florida, and others. He is our friend Mike Mote, and welcome to Friday Eve, my friend.
Yes, sir. And welcome to Friday for the SEC Media Days. It's their last day. I guess you could call it Friday for them. But we've got a few teams still left to hear from. Kentucky, Arkansas, Texas A&M, and Mizzou will be there today. But it's wrapping up, and now in a couple of weeks, we'll get into practice. But it's been a fun week so far. It's been a fun to listen to. I hope everybody's enjoyed all of our coverage this week.
Well, it's certainly been fun bringing it to you. I know that. I know on day 4, there might be a little bit more elbow room for our guys down at the College Football Hall of Fame up on the second floor. Digital Drive is where our own Colin Lacy has been hanging out all week, along with Brent Osborne. Great to have you fellas there. And yeah, for some reason, the place is kind of emptied out, hasn't it?
Yeah, this place was buzzing on Monday and Tuesday especially. Yesterday, you started, as the day went on, you started to see some people start to drop off, and now, let's just say it's a lightly populated Digital Drive here on a Thursday morning. There's still a couple ripping and roaring up front, but this back hallway, it's us, boys.
Yeah.
More Dr. Pepper and breakfast for you too.
Dang right, Mote.
And I heard the breakfast spread was first class. Yeah,
Hey, that bacon was pretty on point this morning.
Yeah, it's been pretty good. Yesterday they had some like loaded stuffed hash browns.
Oh,
Yeah, those were really good.
See, and I'm not really a breakfast guy.
Oh, I'm a huge breakfast guy.
I love breakfast.
Yeah.
I can't wake up good without having breakfast.
Yeah, I'm not really a breakfast guy, but whenever I get up this early, it's a necessity.
I'm a free food guy. If they're offering it, I'm going to eat it at a place like that. And especially if I get it to it before the newspaper folks get to it.
Well,
I will take,
Well, it might be a little smaller crowd than it was yesterday, just as much fun. And we'll recap it all today. Coming up, what has happened all week and what is in store for day number 4 at SEC Media Days. And we'll do all that coming off the slowest night of the year in the sports world, boys and girls. So much so that ESPN created their event, the ESPYs. Now, guys, I got to tell you, I caught a few seconds of the opening Shane Gillis monologue.
Awesome.
That's legendary.
Awesome.
And well, a couple of seconds was enough for me, fellas. That's all I really needed. Did you guys watch? Did you enjoy?
I didn't watch. I saw it on social media after the fact. Me and the ESPYs, I'm good.
Can I just say he's not my cup of tea?
Yeah, I mean, it almost seemed a little awkward, but I think that's just kind of him. Some of the jokes were hilarious, but
did you catch his Caitlin Clark Waffle House joke?
Yes.
Yes, I did.
That was I really like Shane. I think he's a really good comedian. But the issues with and I will say probably with most comedians is it's very limited on, like you said, like who finds them funny, who doesn't find them funny, when they cross the line, that type of thing.
Yep.
And so that's why I mean, that's just kind of how comedians are, and I think he's hilarious. I thought his jokes were hilarious last night, but I know that a lot of people thought that they were inappropriate, awkward, that kind of stuff. And I guess that's the comedian world, that you're going to offend a lot of people and you're going to make a lot of people laugh. So
I would say, aside from being a big time college coach in the SEC or other big conferences, being a stand up comedian these days or a comedian of any kind is probably one of the hardest jobs because
true.
of how many people you're going to tick off by what you say, even though what you're paid to do is be
Yeah.
funny.
Right.
And if people would just lighten up a little bit, they might actually laugh at it, you know?
And look, I know some folks who are huge Shane Gillis fans. I know some folks who love his TV series, which is on Netflix now, Tires. I think they just dropped their second season. But yeah, keep in mind, this is the guy who was a Saturday Night Live cast member for all of 5 days. They fired him 5 days after announcing him as the newest member of
Isn't that nice?
the SNL crew.
Yeah, I
So-
wouldn't
I'm
be
sure he's all right,
surprised
though,
if-
I think.
I wouldn't be surprised if he saw his last ESPYs.
yeah, I would imagine. Did you guys watch the little clip or whatever of the tush push thing with
I
him?
did not. No, I
You
saw
gotta
I
watch
saw
that.
some notes about that on social media today, but I did not actually see.
You got to watch that. That one's pretty good. It's like basically him coming in as a janitor and inventing the tush push play.
The origin of the tush push. Yeah.
Of course, the course it's a little inappropriate, but pretty fun. And then right afterwards, he sat down with Coach Serrani from the Eagles and asked how that came about. So that was pretty cool.
Well, again, if that was your thing, you enjoyed the ESPYs, great. We've got a couple of awards we may run down later in the day, but for the most part, we're going to talk football today. Thankfully, plenty of football to talk about thanks to the Southeastern Conference. We can recap day 3 yesterday, which was a busy day packed with Alabama's Kalen DeBoer and company, Mississippi State's Jeff Levy, Florida's Billy Napier, and Oklahoma's Brent Venables. Today, as Mike Mote mentioned, Missouri and Eli Drinkwitz will be there. Kentucky and their head coach, Mark Stoops, who is now the longest tenured coach in the SEC.
Yeah.
Arkansas Sam Pittman is there as well, and Texas A&M second-year head coach Mike Elko there as well. And today, here on the show, the commish will make an appearance. Our guys had a chance to sit down with Greg Sankey, commissioner of the SEC, yesterday. We'll hear that conversation coming up in about 30 minutes, so stand by for that. And we are 44 days to kickoff, and what a kickoff it'll be. August 30th, a huge schedule, including the Peach Bowl and the Kickoff Classic, which gives us a doubleheader at the Mercedes-Benz Dome on the 30th and 31st. Peach Bowl Inc. CEO and President Gary Stockin is going to join us in hour number 2 today, so stand by for that. Gary Stockin from the Peach Bowl will be here. And we've also, somewhere during the course of the day, the guys had a chance yesterday to visit with Mississippi State first-year wide receiver Brennan Thompson. Interesting story, fellas. This is a guy who played at Spearman High School in Texas. I think the Spearman kind of was they not the inspiration for Friday Night Lights? Am I wrong?
So, yeah.
Wait, really?
I'm thinking so. I may be making that up, but in my head, I somehow assigned Spearman with that.
See, I really hope you're making that up because if I miss the opportunity to talk Friday Night Lights with him,
Yeah,
I'm
and
gonna
I
be
may
upset.
is it Perryman that was
Yeah,
that they used in the that they used in the show. So I don't know. Either way, he comes out of Texas high school. He went to Texas as a freshman, then transferred to Oklahoma, was with Jeff Levy, the offensive coordinator for the Sooners, for 2 years. And now that Jeff Levy is the head coach at Mississippi State, Brendan Thompson is going to spend his last year of college football in Starkville, Mississippi. And you guys had a chance to visit with him, Colin and Brent, right?
Yeah, an impressive young man, and being able to kind of realize what last year was for Mississippi State, and we talked about it a little bit yesterday with you and Bart because we got him right, literally seconds before the show started yesterday.
Yep.
But it's a tough assignment coming into SEC Media Day when last year you were 2-10, and being able to say what this offseason has been and create excitement for 2025. But we were talking to him yesterday, and I think the first thing we asked him was what it's like representing Mississippi State at SEC Media Day, and he said it's an honor. He's blessed to do it and being able to do it. And then we also talked about what Starkville means to him, being able to spend his last year of college eligibility in Starkville. And I think I told y'all yesterday that it's cool to see somebody like that, his face light up when Starkville hasn't necessarily been his home for, on the grand scheme of things, very long,
Right.
but still realizes what that community is.
I was impressed with what I heard from Jeff Levy yesterday. He seems to be more relaxed. And one of the things that he brought out in the conversation that I heard him having uh, during the day yesterday is the money that's being raised by the Mississippi State. Uh, I guess it's the NIL stuff, and
Right. Yeah.
they're setting records. I mean, they're putting in a lot of money for for that fund, and I thought that gives you an idea of the level of support that he has, even though last year went the way it did. And I mean, you could say what you want. I mean, they were in a lot of games. They were not out of very many games. I mean, they were in the Ole Miss game, they were in the Georgia game, they were in the Texas game for a while. Didn't win those games, but 2-10 is what you ended up, being at the end of the day. But there's a chance for this team to significantly improve that total of wins, and I think they can. But I really liked his confidence. He just had that air about him that he feels pretty good about this season and what they can do in year 2 of his tenure there.
I was thinking about similar to that, and this is not to discount what you just said by any stretch of the imagination, because I think you're spot on, and I think there's a lot of excitement around Starkville that nobody's talking about.
Yeah.
But everybody, and it seems like almost every team has said, well, we've hit record numbers with NIL, blah, blah. NIL only started like 4 years ago. So are we really talking about big records here?
Well, I happen to have a list of what I think is Pete Nakos, who came out with a list of college football's biggest spenders. And we're in the neighborhood of I think the biggest spenders are in the neighborhood of $30+ million a year to fund their team.
The money that they were throwing out, the figure he was throwing out yesterday was a high for me. I couldn't believe that Mississippi State would put that kind of money in it. And that doesn't mean that I don't have faith in them or anything. It's just that number seemed pretty high for a program that size.
Yeah,
They're not Alabama. They're not Georgia.
They're not. No. And exactly. And I think again, Texas, I think is there's been rumors out there about $40 million, but sources are saying probably 30 million is more reasonable. Either way, I mean, that's where we are. We're in an arms race right now. And back on the Mississippi State thing, you talk about, we know in the transfer portal, you have the possibility of improving your team in a hurry thanks to the transfer portal. There are 60 new players on this Mississippi State roster. 60.
Yeah, that's a lot.
It is a lot. And so, we'll see. There's a lot of improvement from 2-10, and the schedule is always going to be tough as Mississippi State. But pulling for Jeff Levy and that crew to have a little more successful year. Obviously, another big part of yesterday was Alabama's Kalen DeBoer. He's getting ready to start year number 2, and following up Nick Saban at Alabama, 9-4 last year. Alabama fans do not want to see 9-4 again in 2025, but I was really impressed. This guy just seems comfortable in his own skin, Mike Mote. He doesn't seem overwhelmed by this job in any shape or form to me.
Well, and I think he embraces what everybody knows is still there, and that's Nick Saban. Nick Saban's still part of the program. He's got an office. He talked about it yesterday, Kalen DeBoer did. He said, he has a place there, and you either accept it or you don't. And it's harder for you if you don't, because that man's handprint is going to be on this program for quite a while, even though DeBoer is now running things. But I don't see him worried. I don't see him as a guy who is at all intimidated by where he is. He never was that way last year. He said all the right things, and then he went out and went, 8-4, as you said, and 9-4, and that was not what Alabama fans wanted to see. And I don't think it's going to be anything what they want to think about this year either. But I don't think he's worried about that. I think he feels very confident that he can do better than that with what he has as an offensive coordinator, a really good wide receiver room by all accounts, and a better defense, and maybe better addition by subtraction. Maybe they're a little bit better in the backfield and the running back department as well. So I think there's a lot of reasons to be optimistic, and I thought he was. And I thought, he just kind of maintained his normal personality that he's had since he's been at Alabama at Media Day yesterday.
Yeah, I kind of made this topic yesterday, and we can expand on it here. We're about 5 minutes left in the segment. I made mention something along the lines of with Ty Simpson as quarterback, he may not be the big play guy that Jalen Milroe was, but might he be more consistent and thus produce a better offense. I mean, that was the issue with Jalen Milroe. He was a freak athlete that could make some incredible plays that nobody else is going to make.
Yeah.
But also incredibly inconsistent and had the ability to just miss wide open receivers and do some stuff like that.
Yeah.
My question is, can Ty Simpson just be more consistent? And in doing so, coupled up with Ryan Grubb, the new coordinator, back with Kalen DeBoer after years of success at Washington, might this offense be better with Ty Simpson at quarterback?
I would think it might be better as an offense. I think the offense overall can be better. I think the reason why we know Jalen Milroe for making big plays, guys, is because that's what he had to do. You weren't getting the production from the running game that you normally would get at Alabama. You weren't. And you weren't getting anybody really stepping forward besides Ryan Williams. I mean, Jeremy Menard had a good year. I know that. But I'm just saying other guys didn't step up like we may have thought they would. So I think a more consistent offense really begins with everybody but Ty Simpson. Ty Simpson can manage the offense and be a good leader of that group. So I think if guys can step forward and maybe, let's get some other guys involved and maybe make a few plays and take the pressure off of him. I think everybody was waiting for Milroe to make plays, Colin, more so than, this year. I think everybody can make plays, and I think they're not expecting Ty Simpson to be that type of quarterback.
No, and I think we talked about it a little bit yesterday that Ty Simpson, like Mike said, is a much more consistent version than Jalen Milroe. The ceiling is not there, not even close to what Jalen Milroe can do on the plus side. But I think the floor is much higher than what Milroe's was. You're not going to see some of the colossal meltdowns that you saw from Milroe at times in the last couple of years. So I think the ceiling is lower, but the floor is higher, and it gets you a more even keel in this offense. And I think at times that's just what this offense needed. It didn't need Milroe to be the superstar, even though he felt like he needed to. Jam Miller is a really good running back, y'all. I think he is one of the more underrated running backs in this league. And Brent, you were talking yesterday and made a really good point about what Ryan Williams can be in this offense. Everybody saw the highlight catches that he made, but being able to get him involved in a couple of different ways, and you were pointing it out yesterday.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I think that's going to be the key for them this year. Ryan Williams is a freak. He's one of those guys that you have to get the ball in his hands as many times as possible every single game, and you got to get creative with it. He kind of reminds me, obviously, not a big body, but it reminds me of, a year or two ago with Georgia with like Brock Bowers, right? They were finding any way that they could get the ball into his hands. And I think it's going to be the same exact way with Ryan Williams. You do everything you can to get the ball in his hands. And as we talked about, you run some swing routes, some jet sweeps, whatever it may be. Those are essentially outside runs in today's world. And I think that also gets Ty Simpson more comfortable in the game, being able to throw some short passes and having some big gains from them. And so I think that's going to be a huge factor for them, is getting him more involved. Because again, I know that at least as fans, we didn't know really much about this Ryan Williams kid other than like he was a great talent coming out of high school and seeing what he could do. And then about middle of the season, he started making plays and putting up numbers that we had never seen before. And so I mean, that's something big.
I would say this too, guys. I think whoever gets on the other side of the formation from Ryan Williams, because they're going to double team him out of the gate to start the year. They'd be crazy not to. So somebody's got to step forward. Who's that guy going to be? How do you figure that out? And I think that's a big key to Alabama's success early too.
And Mike, note one of the again point you made earlier. It wasn't just last year. Last couple of years, Alabama team has had trouble running the football. They really have, and that's something Ty Simpson needs. He doesn't have to be Jalen Milroe. Doesn't have to be Tua. Doesn't have to be Bryce Young. If he can be A.J. McCarron or Greg,
like a Jacob Coker.
Absolutely. That they can win with Ty Simpson at quarterback if the rest of this team is what we've come to get used to with Alabama. We shall see in 2025. All right, just getting rolling. Day 4 of SEC Football Media Days continues after a timeout on the Press Box.